Hey everyone, welcome to episode one of Code 3 Invest Real Estate podcast. I'm super excited, guys. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and today we're starting this journey. So, what I want to do is take a moment to introduce who I am, what is Code 3 Invest, and it's going to be an opportunity to get to know me a little bit. Hopefully, you'll like the show. I have a lot to talk about. I love real estate, so without further ado, here we go. So, my name is Brian Waters. I am a full-time captain at LA County Fire Department, a pilot, and also a full-time real estate investor and real estate coach. I specialize in teaching first responders, firefighters, police, doctors, military, any action taker, friends, family, anyone interested in learning out-of-state rental properties. That's what I do. I teach people that. I love it. If you know me, you know I'm super passionate about the subject. And so I want to tell you a little bit about how I got started in doing this. So, born and raised in Huntington Beach, California here. I grew up with a family of four, my mom, my dad, and my sister. And my dad was always a real estate investor. I was a young kid. I didn't know at the time, but we'd always drive by his rental properties. And we would stop in and get rent. There was times we'd go over and help paint. I didn't really quite understand it, but as I grew older, I saw the benefits and how it benefited my family. And as I got older and I looked around, and I realized that is a very, very good way to create that generational wealth that people have always talked about. So, time goes on a little bit. I went to high school and went off away to Santa Barbara UCSB College. I got a degree there, and I came back. I'd always wanted to be a pilot. So I moved in with my folks, continued to save some money, and continued to train to be a pilot. At that point, I knew I was getting older. I didn't want to stay at home forever, and so I decided to continue saving, and I wanted to buy a property, around here in California. It's a little bit daunting. It's expensive at the time, but what are you gonna do? You gotta go for it. That ended up being the best thing that I did for myself. So what I decided to do was I knew the area pretty well, and I decided to start knocking on a couple doors. We found a pretty rundown house in Huntington Beach, and I got a realtor, and I knocked on this lady's door. She answered the door, and we introduced ourselves, and I said, "Ma'am, I'm Brian, and I love this house. If there's ever an opportunity that you want to sell it, I would love to purchase it from you." Um, Honestly, crazy enough, she said, "Sure." She wanted to move to Las Vegas, and so, but she wasn't ready. She wanted to move there in about a year. That's a perfect opportunity for myself. We made an offer. I continued living at home, going to flight school, saving money, and we rented it back to her for a year. Never had ever walked in the door. We walked in the door a year later, and to my surprise, it was a hoarder house. So there was boxes everywhere. If you're a first responder, you've been in these homes quite a bit. It was pretty nasty, but beautiful shell to it, beautiful layout. It just needed a lot of work. Luckily at 22, I didn't have a lot of expectations of something to be perfect, and so what I decided to do is move in with my friends. I could not afford it, so I had a couple of roommates that I had, as far as friends from Santa Barbara, come down, and we lived there, and we all paid rent together. It really, really helped me out, and that's something we're going to get into later in a few episodes of how to buy your first property and how to afford it, because I know things are daunting. I know they're expensive in California. Little did I know that I probably made two of the best decisions in my life. Number one, I was a wholesaler without knowing it. Number two, I um, I did house hacking, which is a strategy that we're going to get into later. Both of those things, I just didn't know even what I was doing. It was just out of necessity. And so um, a little bit of time went by, and I ended up getting a job in Hawaii as a medevac pilot. So when I moved from here, I rented the house out to this really nice couple with kids, and I moved to Hawaii with my now wife, but future wife at the moment, and we kind of started our journey out there together. 2 years later, I got a job with the airlines, and we moved back. At that point, I moved back in here with my soon-to-be wife and a couple of our friends. Again, house hacking. I got a job flying jets all over the country. I was gone a ton. It was a great opportunity for my wife to have some friends around and for us to be able to afford to live here in Huntington Beach with the help of some friends. I always had the goal that by the time I turned 40, I wanted to buy my first rental property. And as you know, it could be pretty expensive in California. Luckily, just timed the market perfectly. It was a time when the rates were down in the twos. We had gained some equity in the house here in Huntington Beach. So I refied out of that and I got some cash out. At that point, I was able to start looking around for homes um, in the Southern California area to become rentals. They were pretty expensive. This was just about the time COVID was happening, so the rates were still low, but there was multiple offers on places. I ended up finding this amazing rental down in Marietta, and it was, for lack of better terms, it was turnkey. This place was beautiful. It was owned by another firefighter, and if you know firefighters, we tend to be pretty type A, pretty pretty clean, pretty organized. This guy's place was dialed. He wanted to move back into it for a couple years because his kid was still in high school. And then he was going to retire and move to South Carolina. About a year into it, he decided that he had enough and he decided that he wanted to leave. So he left. 9 days later, we turned it around and rented it to somebody else. So here are my wins so far. I wholesaled the house. I house hacked twice. I bought a home turnkey and it was awesome. I'm loving real estate at this time. You know, if you know anything about firemen, we love to sit around the table and talk about money and different and sports and all that stuff, but a lot of crazy ideas come about. And prior to that, I had put myself in some risky positions in stock markets, and I was just kind of getting older, and um, I wasn't, I didn't want to take a bunch of risks anymore. And so I decided that real estate was the game for me. But I came to this turning point in my career and in my investing career where it's just super expensive. I was pretty much tapped out on money for down payments. So, I started listening to podcasts and I started reading books and started educating myself. And I came across this group of investors that were out of state and all over the country. And so I decided to take a leap of faith. I joined this group. It was a paid membership. At the point, I honestly thought it was some type of Ponzi scheme. I'm sure you've all seen those before where hey, this is too good to be true. But what I learned was super valuable information. I paid for the education, but it was amazing. To back up a little bit, I had worked for the airlines for about 5 years, and then I got laid off. And during that time, I became a firefighter. So at this point where in the story, I'm actually working as a firefighter for Los Angeles County. In my opinion, one of the best departments in the country. I love every man and woman that works there. It's an incredible place to be. We'll get more into that stuff later on. But back to the community that I joined. Every time I would have these meetups, either in person or online, we would talk about the strategies and the tactics and where people were investing. And as I learned more and more and more, I started to realize, hey, if these people could do it, I could do it too. And so it kind of gave me peace of mind to have a community to rely on, ride on the coattails of some of these more seasoned investors. I tried to be the best student in the group. Everything my mentors would tell me, I would do. I became what I would call an A student. I did due diligence on stuff, but I wanted to learn it all, but I didn't need to know it all in order to start purchasing. Then we decided to buy our next property. We bought a property in Memphis, Tennessee. I still to this day have never been to Memphis, Tennessee, and it's been an absolutely amazing property for me. And I realized how much I love out-of-state investing. So fast forward to now, which is 4 years later, and we have a total of 14 properties. And besides Marietta, the rest of them are all out of state. And so my goal here with you guys is to teach you and take out the risk and take out all the questions and give you a blueprint on how to invest out of state, where and why I like certain areas, the ability to build your team. And by team, you're going to hear the term boots on the ground a lot from me, but that's going to be lenders, insurance agents, property managers, um, people that go and find the homes for us, contractors, all that type of stuff. Being a firefighter, I have an eye for systems. And pilots. Pilots in general, just they follow checklists. If you don't follow checklists, you die. If you don't follow stuff in the fire department training wise, you die. In real estate, I'm going to teach you the correct systems to keep you out of the most trouble possible and to thrive into buying as many as that you want. So what I personally do is I offer a free one-on-one call with anyone and everyone. I'm passionate about this stuff. If anyone knows me, they're probably sick of me talking about real estate all the time, but I love it. So I offer a free one-on-one consulting call, and we sit down and we talk about your goals. We talk about you and your life and what you want to accomplish with this. And I think that one-on-one stuff is really important. Everyone's in a different spot. Okay. So some people are way ahead of others. Some people are just starting out. Some people don't know anything about real estate. My job is to come in, and I like the one-on-one setting because we get to form a game plan just for you. And that is super important. I pride myself on communication. I get text every day. I was at the gym today and I had someone text me about something. You know what I did? I text them back instantly because time is of the essence in some of this stuff. And I'm kind of addicted to it, to be honest. So in the episodes to follow, there's going to be a ton of different topics. We're going to talk about lending. We're going to talk about how to analyze properties. We're going to talk about how to look at inspection reports, how to look at appraisals, how to talk to property managers, how to vet tenants properly, why I prefer out-of-state rental properties over stuff that's closer, why rates don't matter as much as you think they do. I'm going to also dig into questions that get sent to me. I have a list of questions from people from my Facebook group and from email and from my website. Anything that you ever have questions on, feel free to hit me up. I love this stuff, and let's connect. I love it. If nothing else, I can just get to know you. Even if we talk about something else for an hour, I am totally up for that. Welcome to Code 3 Invest Real Estate Podcast. I cannot wait to be on this journey with all of you guys. If you like this, I'd really appreciate it if you share it, if you subscribe to it, and you could reach me at code3invest.com. I'm also at Brian Waters on Instagram and Facebook, and feel free to comment on anything. Comment down here, and let's go, man. This is going to be a fun journey. So take care. Thank you for listening to this, and I look forward to the next episode. Have a good one.